Actually, it's quite interesting because for me, having been here at these events actually since the creation of the Managed Services World Congress, I saw last year a kind of a revolution, I would even call it. And you could see that basically the classical network-centric managed services were lacking innovation. So we had still lots of presentations around that. But you could already feel that application-based, value-based managed services is going to be the new trend. And this year, the trend was confirmed. So even the classical network equipment providers, network managed services providers, we're already talking a lot going into IT, into the IT space. We're talking a lot around customer experience. So I think that is a confirmation of a trend which we have seen last year. And actually the trigger for this change on the market is that the challenges for the operators have dramatically changed over time. And today we are not only talking about cost savings, which is still an issue and still I would say an objective of a managed services solution, but we are talking today more about value-based managed services which are really addressing the top line, which are addressing customer retention, which are addressing revenue generation, revenue increase. And that is basically what is the criteria now. Having said that, operators now need to look into managed services providers who have enough intellectual property, as it was mentioned today by one of the presenters, to really create that value. It is not basic labor arbitrage as we had in the past, but today we really need to talk about very specific solutions, and therefore a managed services provider needs to have a kind of a unique differentiator in that space. As I mentioned, I mean, everything is about revenue generation and revenue protection, and Comverse obviously starting with our product portfolio is in the middle of revenue generation. I mean, we have on one hand value-added services platforms, digital services, which are used to create revenues, and at the same time we have billing systems and customer relationship management systems who are helping to basically protect these revenues and ensure that these revenues are really materializing. But I obviously talk here about managed service and not so much about the product. So the key point for managed services specialized in these domains is that we are able to run these platforms, to run these ecosystems in a much more efficient way than any operator, but not only in a much more efficient way, but actually to generate more value for the customer to the top line. And let me give you one example, which is a very strong one. I unfortunately cannot mention the operator because that is under confidentiality, but what I'm explaining now is a very concrete operator example. So we worked for an operator who had revenue loss problems. So there were thousands of accounts which were not billable. There were hundreds of open change requests. There were hundreds of not implemented connection requests. There were disconnect requests. So really a big situation, a big problem situation, which by the way is not so unique. You know, I mean, with the fast changing packages, services, it is very difficult to keep the pace for these operators. Now, when we came in, within 3 months, we have reduced this revenue loss between 50 and 75%, which is dramatic. I mean, these are millions of US dollars for this operator. At the same time, we have increased the new campaign definition and the new campaign implementation by about 200%. So these are tangible values, and all of them are going directly into the top line. And at the same time, we have provided it at a lower cost level than this operator could have done it themselves. So first of all, obviously a confirmation of that trend. So last year you could see it. This year everybody talks about it. Next year hopefully more and more are having tangible results. We see that operators are more and more demanding that and requesting that. So the key point is now that the managed services providers need to get ready for that. Okay, and that's what we are going to see. So we are going to see more and more of these type of deals on the market. And the important thing is what we are doing in order to create this value. And one thing is key, and everybody has to do it, and that is my program in Comverse over the next 12 months, is to enlarge our multi-vendor capability. Because if we want to create value, we can not only stick to our own Comverse products, we need to run the whole ecosystem, we need to run the whole process. Only that is going to create value. At the same time, everybody is talking about the cloud, everybody is talking about software as a service business model, so that is also something what we are dramatically investing into. And we are planning to announce quite relevant deals in the next coming months in that respect. So I expect that the market continues in that trend. And again, the specialization to specific areas where we can create customer experience and top line value for the operators, that's going to be the future of managed services.